So let's now talk about what is happening in Balochistan. We have with us TCA Raghavan, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan, joining us. Good evening to you, Ambassador Raghavan. What do you make of the situation there? Because we see that these terror incidents, you can call them terror or that of resistance and separatism as well, because it is happening in a province that's been long oppressed and denied of several privileges, even basic human rights for its citizens for quite some time by the Pakistani military, even the civilian regime.
Well, your report pointed out that the latest attack in the railway station in Quetta is only part of a long series of major counter-insurgency related incidents which have been taking place in Balochistan. The fact is that the insurgency in Balochistan has been there for a number of years, and the government of Pakistan or the Pakistani state or the Pakistani military has not been able to come up with a sustainable response on how to deal with this situation. Common sense tells you that a long-running insurgency requires a political solution. The Pakistani state, unfortunately, has not been able to embark on a political approach and is instead relying principally on a securitized approach. And that also your report had mentioned in terms of increasing human rights violation, large number of disappeared persons, and other related issues. So the security response, in fact, feeds the insurgency and makes it get even more intense, as we are seeing with the upstick in terrorist-related major incidents. The fact is that Balochistan has a number of long-standing grievances. In particular, that although it is a resource-rich state, it has a kind of a colonial relationship with the rest of Pakistan, since the advantage of the exploitation of those resources flows back not into the state but goes to the rest of Pakistan. That was the example with the gas fields discovered over there some 30 or 40 years ago. No real advantage flowed to the people of Balochistan because of that natural resource. So there is a growing sense of alienation and antagonism amongst many Baloch people today, and the symptoms of that are this long-running insurgency.
And why these forced disappearances? Because fine, one can, if one wants to oppress people or put down some sort of an insurgency or a separatist movement, there are ways to do it militarily as well without forcefully disappearing thousands and thousands of people, a lot of young men really, but women as well. And this has been happening again for at least 2 decades now, and over 7,000 forced disappearances. And of course, the disgruntlement only spreads further among the people who have been deprived of their kith and kin in this manner, and they've been seeking justice and answers, and nobody is responding to them.
Well, as I said, a heavy-handed securitized approach only feeds into people's alienation and sense of antipathy and antagonism, and that is what is happening. The issue of forced disappearances is a very serious issue. It has been raised persistently by many human rights groups in Quetta, in Balochistan, but also in the rest of Pakistan. But again, there's been no serious and sustained political effort to address this issue, and that in turn further deepens the sense of antagonism and alienation which exists today.
Why do you think there is a complete lack of looking towards a political engagement or initiating a political process? There just seems to be no interest in that. Doesn't the Pakistan ruling establishment realize that this will not, and it has not through these decades, solved this problem?
There's a very simple answer to that. When you have the military running the state for a long period of time, a securitized approach becomes almost the
Knee-jerk.
default, the knee-jerk or the Pavlovian response to any difficult situation which is being faced. The second factor is that Pakistan has a fundamental problem in addressing the issues which are raised by terrorist groups. Many of these groups were given a wide latitude in Pakistan and were used as a means of furthering their foreign policy objectives, particularly with Afghanistan and also to a very great extent with India. Now these groups have turned inwards, and the Pakistani government or the Pakistani states lacks a central narrative and a central platform to be able to mobilize people against these extremist and terrorist groups. That is the fundamental problem which Pakistan confronts today when it deals with its domestic insurgents, whether in Balochistan or in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or in fact anywhere else.
And there's political unrest in general in Pakistan, apart from economic morass really, where Pakistan has been extending a begging bowl to whoever might put some arms in it, be it the Chinese, be it the Gulf nations or the International Monetary Fund.
Well, you're quite right. The economic downturn and the grave economic crisis, in fact, underwrites these security and political issues which have come up, because with very high inflation, with numerous supply side bottlenecks, and with no real tangible plan which could suggest that there may be some light at the end of the tunnel, people have no option but to resort to the kind of insurgent actions as we are seeing.
It seems that Pakistan is telling the Baloch people that, look, I'm in a hole and I'll drag you into it as well and make it all the more bigger. Is there any hope for, well, first the Baloch people and then even for Pakistan, the Pakistani people? I mean, there are neighbors. So one cannot sort of expect that things will deteriorate to the extent that Pakistan will never recover and will break up, or something even more disastrous could happen. It's a nuclear power.
Well, you're quite right. I think as an immediate neighbor, we require a certain minimum level of stability in Pakistan. Unfortunately, the situation today does not look optimistic at all, because rather than addressing the central issues which are confronting the country, the government is in fact totally obsessed with the domestic factional politics which engulfs it. The principal opposition leader in the form of Imran Khan is in jail. There is a huge amount of political polarization. There are growing rifts between sections of the judiciary and the government, between sections of the judiciary and the military. These internal decisions.
Do you sorry to interrupt, but do you see a situation where the people they're already agitating against the government, but they still don't see the armed forces as the enemy? Do you think there will be a situation where the people might turn against the armed forces itself?
Well, there have been serious civil-military issues even in the recent past, and we know what happened some time ago when former Prime Minister Imran Khan was arrested and a number of principal military institutions were attacked by civilian mobs. But the point is that this kind of sporadic violence will not change the situation. It will add to the intensity of the confrontations which Pakistan faces. But I don't think there is any serious chance of a radical change in the situation or of some kind of major implosion in Pakistan. What is worrying is the absence of any state bandwidth in showing some capacity to devise a sustainable solution to these numerous political, economic and security related issues which Pakistan is facing.
Right, bandwidth or inclination, I don't know what is lacking, but clearly something needs to be found to come up with solutions to Pakistan's increasing problems in every region, in almost every sphere. Thank you for joining us to talk about it, Ambassador T.C.A. Raghavan.
Thank you.